A mind that scares people means one thing. You handle pressure so well that others feel weak around you. There was a warrior named Miyamoto Musashi who had this kind of mind. He won every fight for 30 years, then wrote down exactly how his mind worked. I've studied everything he wrote, and what I found was this: 5 core principles. They work like a combination lock. Each one turns the next, until your mind unlocks a level of strength that makes normal people deeply uncomfortable. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to build it. Principle 1. The way of walking alone. At 60 years old, Miyamoto Musashi wrote his final work. He called it Dokodo, the way of walking alone. That title alone says everything. Not the way of walking together, not the way of being liked, not the way of belonging. The way of walking alone. In his final years, he didn't retire in a warm home surrounded by admirers. He moved into a cave, a cold, damp, echoing cave called Reigondo, carved into the mountains of Japan. He took no students, no followers, no comforts, just his mind, his sword, and silence. And people think he went there to escape the world. They're wrong. He went there to master himself. Because Musashi discovered what most people spend a lifetime running from. True strength is built in isolation. Not the fake kind, where you post about grinding alone but still check likes every 10 minutes. The real kind, where your thoughts are your only companions and silence is your only mirror. Let me ask you, when was the last time you made a major decision without asking anyone? No texting friends, no Reddit threads, no scrolling through advice videos, just you, your gut, your instinct. Most people can't even sit alone in a room for 10 minutes without checking their phone. Because silence is uncomfortable. Because solitude exposes who you really are, without the mask. When you're always surrounded by noise, you never hear the truth inside you. You borrow opinions, you borrow confidence, you borrow certainty. And the moment you're alone, you collapse. Because what you had wasn't strength. It was borrowed stability, propped up by others. Musashi didn't need to be told he was on the right path. He didn't wait for permission. He didn't need applause. He built a mind that operated independently of validation. That's what the cave represented. Not exile, but evolution. So what does that mean for you? It means you must train your mind to function without the crutch of others. You must learn how to stand without leaning. Try this. Tomorrow, pick one important decision, one that matters. Then, make it entirely alone. No advice, no checking, no permission seeking. Feel how hard that is. Feel the discomfort rising. That pressure in your chest. That's not fear. That's your mind trying to grow muscles it's never used before. Most people confuse being alone with being lonely. But there's a difference. Being lonely is needing others and not having them. Being alone is needing nothing and being free. Musashi was free because he didn't need a group to validate his worth, didn't need a crowd to believe in his mission, didn't need approval to know he was right. That kind of mind terrifies people because it reveals just how dependent they are on attention, on reassurance, on noise. When you become comfortable in solitude, you become untouchable in society. You'll walk into rooms and unsettle people, not because you're loud, but because you carry a quiet power they don't understand. You'll disagree with everyone in the room and still feel certain. You'll act without waiting because you trust yourself more than the crowd. And when the crowd turns on you, you'll keep moving forward because you've walked alone before. And you'll do it again. That's the power of solitude. That's what Musashi understood. Not the illusion of independence, but the discipline of aloneness. And that's your first step. Before you learn discipline, before you master pain, before you build rituals. You must first stand without needing anyone to catch you. Walk alone, not once. Not when it's easy, but daily. Make it a way of life. Make it your path. Because everything else, every other principle of strength, starts here. Principle 2. Immunity to pleasure and pain. In Dokodo, Musashi wrote something that shocks people the first time they read it. Be indifferent to where you live. To most, it sounds like madness. How can someone not care where they live? How can a warrior find peace in a cave on a mountainside with no furniture, no warmth, no comfort? But Musashi wasn't mad. He was free. This is what most people miss. He didn't choose discomfort because he hated comfort. He chose it because he refused to be controlled by it. The modern mind is addicted to pleasure, addicted to comfort, addicted to convenience. We live in climate-controlled rooms with food delivered in minutes, constant entertainment in our pockets. And yet we're mentally weaker than any generation before us. Why? Because when you overdose on comfort, you underdevelop resilience. Musashi understood this with deadly clarity. He wasn't chasing suffering, he was neutralizing its power. Another line he wrote proves it. Do not pursue the taste of good food. Again, people take this literally and think it's about denial. It's not. It's about mastery. Most people don't eat because they're hungry. They eat because they're bored, or sad, or anxious. Their emotions are regulated by flavor, salt, sugar. Musashi refused to give food that power. He ate to fuel his body, not to sedate his mind. It wasn't about starving himself, it was about proving a point, that pleasure was his servant, not his master. Let me ask you, what controls your decisions more, pleasure or principle? Do you avoid confrontation because it's too uncomfortable? Do you stay in the same job, same habits, same toxic routines because change feels like pain? Do you reach for your phone the second silence creeps in because facing your own thoughts is too uncomfortable? Musashi saw comfort and pain not as opposites, but as two sides of the same trap. When pleasure controls you, you chase it like a drug. When pain controls you, you avoid it like a fire. But when neither controls you, you're unshakable. That's why he trained in extremes. He would sleep outside, no roof, no bed, exposed to the elements. He would eat rice and water one day, something simple, plain. Then eat well the next, if it came, not to punish himself, but to teach his mind one lesson. Circumstances do not define me. I define me. This was psychological warfare against weakness. And here's how you bring that into your life. Try this practice I call condition switching. One day, take a freezing cold shower. The next, enjoy a hot one. One day, eat basic, bland food. The next, enjoy your favorite dish. But here's the catch. Keep your mindset the same. Don't complain. Don't celebrate. Train your mind to maintain the same emotional baseline. Whether you're in a palace or a prison, that's real control. Most people are only stable when conditions are stable. They're nice when the coffee is hot. They're patient when they're well fed. They're calm when the room is quiet. That's not mental strength. That's fragile conditioning. Because life isn't consistent. Sometimes it rains on your plans. Sometimes people betray you. Sometimes you lose everything. And if your peace is tied to pleasure, then your peace is temporary. If your power collapses under discomfort, then your power is imaginary. True strength is this: to suffer and remain steady, to win and remain humble, to be cold and not complain, to be praised and not depend on it. Musashi could sleep in a cave because he had already trained his mind to not need anything. He wasn't numb. He simply understood that if you build your life around chasing good feelings, you'll be destroyed by bad ones. Let me say that again. If your decisions are built on seeking comfort, discomfort will break you. But if you train your mind to operate with the same intensity in both comfort and pain, you become untouchable. You become like water. taking the shape of any situation but never losing your essence. And when others panic, seek distractions, melt under pressure, you remain still. That's the kind of mind people fear, because they can't influence it, can't tempt it, can't manipulate it. Musashi was immune, not because he didn't feel pain, but because he didn't depend on pleasure. You want that kind of mind? Then start now. Don't wait until life hits you with suffering. Train now. Make yourself uncomfortable on purpose, not to punish yourself, but to prove to your mind, I am not ruled by feelings, I am ruled by will. Principle 3. The 1,000 Days Rule. Musashi wrote, 1,000 days of training to develop, 10,000 days to polish. Let's break that down. 1,000 days equals 3 years, 10,000 days equals 27 years. He's telling you exactly how long it takes to forge a warrior's mind. Most people want the shortcut, the 30-day challenge, the weekend transformation. Musashi is laughing at you. He practiced the same downward sword cut thousands of times, not 50 techniques. One over and over every single day, because you become what you repeat. Not what you dream, not what you say, what you do daily. But this applies to the mind too. He practiced the same response to fear, the same control over anger, the same calm in chaos every day for decades. Want to build this? Pick one internal trait, how you handle criticism, how you make decisions, how you deal with stress. Then practice it, daily, without fail. Miss one day? Start over. Do it for 1,000 days. It stops being practice. It becomes who you are. Most people can't do anything for a week. That's why most people have fragile minds. Principle 4. Respect without dependency. Musashi said, respect Buddha and the gods without counting on their help. This isn't about religion. It's about mental independence. He visited temples, studied with monks, but never depended on any system. Most people, they find a mentor and become slaves to their advice. They follow a method and can't function when it breaks. Musashi learned from everyone, but relied on no one. He took what worked, left what didn't, moved on. Look at your own life, that guru you can't think without, that book you treat like scripture, that system you follow blindly. Dependency equals weakness. Because when that system fails, you fail with it. Try this. Write down everything you believe you need to function. Now remove one thing from your life for a week. Watch how your mind reacts. That discomfort, that's dependency revealing itself. Cut it. Learn from everything, depend on nothing. Principle 5. Never stray from the way. Musashi's final words in Dokodo were simple. Never stray from the way. He didn't talk about secret techniques. He talked about consistency. Most people get inspired, then fade. They feel motivated for a week, then give up. Musashi? For 30 years he followed the same principles, walking alone, immune to comfort, repeating daily, depending on no one. Was he perfect? Did he ever feel weak? Of course. But he never quit. He never strayed. That's the difference. Mental strength isn't built in moments of inspiration. It's forged in decades of staying on the path. And when you fall, and you will, don't spiral, don't restart. Return immediately, same day, same hour, no guilt, no shame, just return. That's the protocol. Final words. These aren't motivational quotes for your wall. These are the actual laws Musashi lived by, alone, in a cave, at 60, preparing to die. Not written for fame, written for himself. That's why they work. Most of you will feel inspired for 5 minutes, then go back to needing likes, chasing comfort, quitting when it gets hard. But maybe one of you is different. Maybe one of you is done with the fragile mind. Start here. Walk alone. Make one decision tomorrow without asking anyone. No phone, no input, just you. Because if you can't stand alone, You'll never build a mind strong enough to lead, and if you can't lead yourself, you'll be ruled by those who can. The way is there. Musashi walked it for 30 years. Now it's your turn. Will you take the first step?